Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for today's broadcast, Insane Lear 13, and once again, OSRL is about to try and get underway for a new season. It's been a while. They were not able to complete a single full season last year due to a variety of issues. So another and hopefully final attempt at season 4 will be underway and starting today. Non-points event at the Busch Clash here at the Daytona Road Course. And it's one of the largest turnouts we've had for this non-points event for a long time. As we look from the bottom to the top of the grid, Rockmaro is going to be running the number 24 Chevrolet. TTJ is going to be running the number 78 Chevrolet. SSR U5 AMVP is going to be in the number 54 Toyota. Tactical Fallout will be running the number 14 Ford. Dino Prime 77 will be in the number 77 Chevrolet. BP Ultimate is in the number 27 Toyota. Oof Serena is in the number 89 Ford Fusion. Adaman 2005, your defending Busch Series champion, is going to be running the number 13 Chevrolet. Raygun vs. Zombie is in the number 5 Chevrolet. SRD Shredder is in the number 10 Ford Fusion. Series host Ludicrous Speed once again returned to the number 20 Home Depot Chevrolet. Prius Killer is there in the number 76 Chevrolet. TFB Matter, another graduate from the Busch Series, is in the number 19 Toyota. TMS Derp is going to be running the number 33 Chevrolet. TMS Bum Drop is going to be in the number 55 Chevrolet. TMS Stingray will be in the number 1 Ford, and that will round out the field for today's race. Also, we want to real quickly give some credit to Icky in 1975. He will be running the Le Mans winning number 2 Ford GT40 here for the pace laps for today's event. This car also won the 1964 24 Hours of Daytona, so it's a car that has a significant amount of history in racing and at this track. And I want to give him a little bit of thumbs up for being willing to turn the laps here in today's event. We are anticipating to get underway in a short period of time here. Not an excessively long race today. The Busch Clash this season has been shortened a bit from a 25 lap race to a 20 lap one. They'll run a single lap under safety car conditions. Then there will be 20 full-fledged laps. Everyone is starting to get underway here. It's anticipated that you will only need to do one pit stop in today's race to refuel, to put new tires on and refuel the car. Other than that, that'll be it. Don't have to worry about stages. Don't have to worry about points. This is a non-points race. You don't have to worry about mandatory cautions or anything like that. And we'll be getting underway with this race very shortly here. That is, assuming that there aren't any further delays that keep things from going at a proper pace. Just stand by right now, waiting for us to get underway for the event. As we look real quickly, this was under qualifying circumstances. No, that's definitely not right. That's definitely not what it was like at all in qualifying. Okay, well, I guess I'll run you guys through the qualifying setup once Tactical Fallout properly readies up and we can get underway. Oh, apparently, so never mind. We are going to be seeing Icky running a Chevy Camaro pace car and not the Ford GT40. Never mind. I guess I got a little bit too ahead of myself there. But we should be getting underway here in about a minute or so. 16-car field for the Busch Clash. It's the largest we've seen ever in the Busch Clash. It's honestly closer to a decently sized field for the 350 itself. Still waiting to get underway. I don't know what the holdup is at the moment. We should have been circling the circuit at this point in the event. There we are. Now we're getting going. Alright, as we get onto the circuit itself now. And real quickly, we will run through the entire starting grid from last to first. So, starting in 16th, last position for today's race will be this man here, and you'll see him gain power very shortly here. That is TJ111. So he'll be running the number 78 DeWalt machine. He will be starting back there along with, and that was too many steps, with BP Ultimate 05, who is in the number 27 Subway machine. Then in the row ahead of them, row 7, it will be this man here, Tactical Fallout, the man who helped design these cars, and he'll be sharing that row with this man, TFB Matter, in the Toyota. Then you move up another row, this is row 6, and you have Rock Morrow. He is going to be starting alongside that man just in front of him. You can see SSR U5AMVP. I will come up with a better name for him later on, something that rolls off the tongue a little easier than just spelling out his entire name going forward. Then you get to row 5. Row 5 will be these two men, Dino Prime 77 in that 77 Great Clips car. He's going to be sharing that with Oof Serena in the AlphaTauri number 89 machine. Then ahead of them is going to be Aiden 2005 in row 4, and he'll be sharing that with Raygun vs. Zombie in the number 5 machine. Then ahead of them, you have row 3. That is SRD Shredder. He is going to be sharing that with the man who runs the series, Ludicrous Speed, in that number 20 Home Depot Chevrolet. Then you get to row 2. Row 2 is going to be Prius Killer 8110. He is going to be sharing the row with TMS Bum Drop. And then the front row is going to be a complete TMS lockout, as TMS Derp and TMS Stingray will be leading the field to the green flag here, with TMS Stingray being the pole setter for today's event as we prepare to get underway for the race itself. Again, 20-lap race, so it'll be a relatively short shootout to the checkered flag here, assuming we don't have an excessive amount of yellow flags, and we are anticipating that you will only need to make a single pit stop in today's race in order to make it to the end. As we see, the pace car will pull off in just a second here. Alright, and to the line here at the Daytona Road Course. Green flag is out, and we are underway, and that number 1 machine takes advantage of that front row starting position, but he steps a little bit wide. The number 55 tries to get alongside, can't pull it off. In fact, we're going to have a 2, nearly 3 wide for a second position, and it looks like TMS Derp will hold on to second. There's chaos further back in the grid, though. A multi-car accident near the back. And that may have been Dino Prime, who may have been one of the men involved in that. It's kind of hard to tell. SRG Shredder finally getting back by. He's moving again. Aiden 2005, one of the men who did get turned in that, and he has now fallen already 3 seconds off the back of the grid. But at the front is TMS Stingray in the 1 machine. Second place goes to Ludicrous Speed, who capitalized on the fighting of the TMS drivers behind him to jump up into second position really early on. And already you can see Oof Serena back there. He's trying to make something happen and crack the top 5 position. He's right there behind TMS Bum Drop. And he himself is behind Raygun vs. Zombie. Run down to the backstretch chicane. jump hard onto the brakes. You can see the brake lures light up. Ray Gun really aggressive through the grass, and Serena has to back way out of it so as not to run over the drivers ahead, but that brings BP Ultimate up into the fray. Now Ultimate's going to try and put some pressure on that number 89 machine, but Serena came out of the chicane with good enough speed that he'll be able to use that as a defense and will not fall too many positions behind, but the field already spreads out into single file formation relatively early in today's race here. At the front, TMS Stingray leads over this man here, Ludicrous Speed. The gap is about 1.3 seconds. Riding off the bonnet cam for the number 20. Already, Aiden Man starting to close back on the gap from all the time they had lost early on. Not a whole lot of active fighting going on the track right now. Everyone spread out into single file positions really quickly here. Although it should be noted here in the 9th position, SSR is closed onto the back of a little train of cars. Not quite in a position, though, it would appear, to be able to make a whole lot of active movement. There we are. Rockmar actually up gets to his inside. So SSR now falls to the 10th position. Struggling a bit in that Mobile 1 machine to maximize power application out of the corners, it would appear. TFB Matter here in 13th position, going to the inside of SRD Shredder, but Shredder sends in a little bit deeper under braking for defense. And Shredder will get that position now. And just a little bit behind, you can see the 19 going to have to run some defense very shortly here, as that's Dino Prime 77 closing in behind. So it'll be a Chevrolet versus Toyota fight as they go braking into turn 1 here. '77 pulls right up behind, but the 19 is good enough. That won't be too much of an issue. Oh, and Shredder is off on the circuit through the dirt, right across the 19's nose, and off circuit, and that's really going to hurt him as he falls all the way to 15th. That's second to last on the grid. And Shredder, who has a relatively good track record here at the Daytona Road Course in GT cars, doing nothing but struggling right now in the stock cars, it would appear. And BP Ultimate has had a spin of his own at the same part of the racetrack as well, just a bit farther up. Now he's already trying to get moving again. But it's not good for these men at the back. Again, it's a very short race here. You make mistakes early on, there's not enough time really to make up and overcome those mistakes. At the front though, Ludicrous Speed trying to close in on your pole setter who has led every lap thus far, TMS Stingray. Trying to get within drafting range. He's about 3/4 of a second out at the moment, and these two have pulled away from the rest of the field quite a bit. Most of the field is pretty much spread out nice and evenly. They're coming a little closer for the top positions. In fact, Ludicrous Speed now within about 2/3 of a second of your leader. But as you look at the ticker at the top of the screen, everyone else seems to have spread out to roughly half-second gaps or more. Now there is this fight here. Tactical Fallout has closed in to SSR. He looks to the outside. We'll try a crossover coming out of the first of the two infield hairpins. Not really able to make it work, though. But he's carrying good momentum. As long as he keeps that number 14 on circuit, I think he might be able to get this position. But it does seem like for this race win, at least, it's become a two-man fight to the end. That's TJ there in 10th. He also has some decent history here at Daytona in various different classes of cars. Not yet in a position to fight for this spot on the racetrack. Tactical Fallout, though, right there behind SSR, and he'll get a good draft going down the straight. Coming into the bus stop chicane, it's not a really ideal place to try and make overtakes with these heavy 3,300-pound stock cars. But if you're fast enough, it is possible to deny the other driver their lane of choice, and you can kind of force a mistake by the next person in order to get the spot. Tactical Fallout right there behind SSR. It's the closest it's been for a while. He's right there in the aerodynamic wake, using the draft to tow him along. And we'll try to use some aero push to run SSR's car a little bit wide going into turn 1's braking zone. 54, though, responds very wisely, brakes a bit early in preparation, and will hold the spot over Tactical Fallout. TJ right there behind. He has the speed to keep up, but not the speed to overtake. But someone who does have the speed to overtake is Rockmaro on Oof Serena. He's going around the outside. Don't typically want to go side by side through that high-speed kink. Not really even a chicane, it's a high-speed kink. So Rock pulls out, but then tries to cross over out of the following corner, and the 24 will get the position. So now Oof Serena comes storming back, has the inside line, will use that as a defense. Rockmaro tries again to utilize the crossover, coming onto Speedway Turn 1, runs the 89 nice and wide, still neck and neck. SSR is right there in a position to get some draft off both of them, trying to use that to pull away from Tactical Fallout. Rockmaro has the inside line, which is a little bit faster around there. But under braking, Oof Serena has the speed, and it's going to be Serena who backs out, doesn't want to send too hard. Rock, though, misses the braking zone, ends up going into the grass, misses the following corner. He'll retain the lead, but Serena has the speed. Rock falls back in line behind. Now here comes SSR to the outside. Where does Tactical Fallout go? Tac's going to try and make it 3 wide. No, he doesn't. He falls in line behind Rockmaro, trying to give him a bit of a push, and they're going to try and do a little bit of slam drafting to stay ahead of SSR. Perfect example of taking advantage of the circumstances as they change. Now Rockmaro sends it to the inside of Serena. Serena gets knocked a little bit wide. Tactical Fallout now wants to get by Serena. Rockmaro holds the position back. Serena missed the braking zone, and now TJ is there, ready to capitalize. Ryan on board with TJ as he is side by side right now with Tactical Fallout. One of these men will have to back out in this corner. It will be TJ, but this leaves him open to TFB Matter, who has a head of steam now. Matter, who wasn't even a factor in this fight earlier, is now all over it. 3 wide for a position. Tactical Fallout will jump ahead. Now Matter goes by, and now here comes SSR. SSR will take the inside line and should be able to clear TJ without too much issue. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, though, is Ludicrous Speed, still putting pressure on TMS Stingray. Within drafting ranking, these two are in a zip code all of their own for this race lead. As we look real quickly at the fuel consumption rate, 53% left for Ludicrous Speed. So again, you can make it about 16, 17 laps on a tank of fuel. That is not going to be enough to make it, obviously, in a 20 lap plus 1 caution lap race. You'll either need a lot of yellow, which we've not had thus far today, or you will need to pit at some point in this event. But I've been watching the ticker. I've not seen very many, if anyone, make their pit stops yet. Excuse me. Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize you could do that. You see TMS Derp hanging out just close enough to where if these two were to have a major incident, he would be able to vault himself into contention, but he's not in a position to vault himself into the lead or even really fight for it. He's about 2.5 seconds out of the lead fight right now. A little bit farther back, though, here's this fight for 4th position as Raygun vs. Zombie is trying to hold off Team S Bum Drop as they dive into the backtrack chicane once more. See that Puma number 55 getting really sideways off into the grass. That'll kill all his momentum, all his speed, and that battle, for all intents and purposes, is over. But the battle for a lead is not, as we look at Stingray trying to hold off Ludicrous Speed. Speed right there behind, right in the aerodynamic wake, trying to give him a bit of an arrow shove going into turn 1. They take 2 alternate lines through turn 1, and now they go through turn 2. It's a bit of a very shallow S's, and now a run down into the hairpin corner. Stingray has the advantage. Clabbers the curb on entrance. Ludicrous does it on apex. A little bit of tire smoke from the lead car. Right out of the back of your race leader. As Ludicrous Speed hangs in right there behind. Wheel spin once again from Stingray. You can see how quickly that number 20 closes in under braking here. Now they come back onto the oval section. And under initial acceleration, the leader seems to have the advantage, but drafting then goes in favor of Ludicrous Speed. And you can see he now begins to close the gap slowly under braking here. This is one of the most important braking sections of the circuit. I mean, you don't ever want to miss any braking section. But a failure here could end up in an absolutely catastrophic scenario. Ludicrous Speed closed in by about 40 feet under braking, losing about half of that advantage, though, on acceleration. But then as the draft kicks back in under acceleration, though, it goes back in favor of Ludicrous Speed. He closes back within about 65 feet, and he pits. And Ludicrous Speed will be the first man to pit in today's race. And with that in mind, we'll bring up the map real quickly. And that one dot there that's highlighted, that is your first driver who pit. He is not the only one, though. You can see 2 other drivers have joined him in the pits. TJ has pitted as well, SSR. A bunch of drivers in the midfield have all pitted along with your current race leader. In the event that we have a yellow flag, they would have a great advantage because the field would close back up. You're not allowed to pit under the safety car. If we were to go green, these drivers would basically end up inheriting the lead, and everyone else would basically have to pit as they come to the green flag. Where's Ludicrous Speed gone? There he is. Ludicrous Speed only fell to about 6th position after making his stop. Again, he now does not have to worry about stopping again for the rest of this race. He has significant advantage. Not only that, he has clean track ahead of him. That is Dino Prime a little bit farther up, but the gap between them is not massive, but it's enough that's not going to compromise his runs through the corners. So this is going to work out very well. So as we focus on Ludicrous Speed on the map, the little ball that has the 1 on it, that is your current race leader. He has not yet pitted. When he pits, the question is going to be, is Ludicrous Speed going to be close enough to vault himself back ahead? There we are, TMS Stingray coming in this lap. He'll be joined by other drivers, I'm sure, but TMS Derp will now inherit the race lead. Watch the little dot that's there on what pit road is. Now we see 3rd place coming into pit lane as well. Ludicrous Speed coming with speed, but already the driver who was leading is making the way down pit lane. Already, it may look like your current race leader is the man who was the race leader early on is going to maintain the lead. Ludicrous Speed is coming with his namesake, a lot of speed. He's up to 7th already, up to 6th now. Misses the braking zone in turn 1, though. Not the greatest thing. He's right there behind Stingray again. So in the end, at the end of the whole pit stop cycle, Ludicrous Speed is still there behind Stingray. For Stingray, though, the question is just, hey, can I make it to the end while keeping the number 20 car behind me? Top 5 drivers have yet to make their pit stops. Oofs Arena is the one in 5th right now. Your current race leader is TMS Derp. As you can see him vibing in the Ritz car there. Inspired by the many times that Tony Stewart would run his own number 33 sponsored machines in the Busch races at Daytona, often sponsored by various snack cookies. Second place is TMS Bum Drop at the moment. Trying to cover from a bit of a mistake earlier. He has gotten back by Rockmaro, but he will have to pit sooner rather than later. And then in 4th, Tactical Fallout has not yet made a stop. And I imagine some of these drivers near the front will probably be betting on a late race yellow so they can pit then potentially. Although it won't really benefit them in any serious way. Stingray, though, started on the pole, led a bunch of laps early on. His main challenger today has been Ludicrous Speed. But at the end of their 2 stops, Stingray has actually opened up the gap over Ludicrous Speed for the moment. TFB Matter fighting back here with BP Ultimate for the 7th spot. Oh, contact! And they're both around! And they're around! And then it says BP Ultimate goes into the dirt. Matter is involved as well, but he pulled over so that way BP can get going again. And they were both going to hemorrhage a bunch of time in the process. Here comes TJ now with speed on both of them. At the front. No yellow flag. We're staying under green conditions as Derp maintains his lead. But again, he will have to pit sooner rather than later. This man here, TMS Stingray, is the man who is actually going to be the race leader in a short period of time. Now we get word that TMS Derp is pitting out of the race lead. Ludicrous Speed is closed in, but at the front. And the pace car is out, and yellow flag has fallen for the incident that happened there. So now everything's changed. Now we're going to have a restart. It's our first safety car of the day falls due to the accident we saw back there. Took a little while for it to come out, but the safety car has fallen onto the circuit. And for TMS Stingray, this will be good because this means that he will get a chance to vault himself into the lead of this race. Because as we look at the telemetry and the fuel wear, your race leader, TMS Bumdrop, only 15% left in the tank. There's no way he can make it to the end. For second place, Rockmaro, similar scenario, 12% left in the tank. No way he's going to make it to the end. Tactical Fallout in third, 13%. Fourth, TMS Stingray, 82%. Doesn't have to worry in the slightest about fuel to the end of this race. So it has become a two-man fight between TMS Stingray and Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous now right behind Stingray, and he can pressure him at will to the end of this race. As we look real quickly at the map, you can see tire field's not gathered up. It will take a while for the field to gather up, but at the rate that's going here, I think we could see us restarting coming on to lap 14 here. Here comes Raygun at speed, and he's just about caught the back of the grid now. Pace speed is at 65 miles an hour, and you can easily get 3 times that speed at the fastest points of this track. So, yep, already the back of the grid. You can now see him at BP Ultimate spinning. And BP Ultimate has a spin trying to come up to the back of the grid. No serious damage by the looks of it, so he'll take his position back, but a bit of a mess to say the least. The good news though, everyone now gathered up at the back of the field. We could go green this lap if this so chosen. And everyone who has not pitted yet, I imagine, will take this time to pit. They're not going to gain anything by staying out longer when they're so low on fuel and their tires are not feeling that great either. Your race leader seems to be staying out, though. TMS Bum Drop will hold onto the top spot. He will have to pit, though, in the next few laps simply because of how little fuel there is. As the green flag is out, how is TMS Bum Drop going to affect the fight between Ludicrous Speed and TMS? Oh, look at Raygun versus Zombie throwing it up the inside. Can't get alongside the one. Now Stingray is there with Bum Drop side by side with teammates. Bum Drop's going to hold up the 20. Now the 1 is by. Now the 55's into the dirt. He hemorrhages 4, maybe in 5 positions right off the bat. And Raygun versus Zombie now throws himself into the fray for the race lead and the potential win here. But TMS Stingray is already opening up the gap on him. Oh, Stingray sideways! Stingray sideways for the lead! And here comes the 5! He barrel slams into the side of the 1 car! Raygun takes the lead of the race now! And Raygun inherits the race lead. Here comes Ludicrous Speed now. He's behind the 1 car. Now the 1 car dives back to the inside of the 5. Side by side, they both run wide, coming onto Speedway turn 1. Here comes Ludicrous Speed to the inside with more speed than both of them. He'll shoot by them both. He'll take the lead now. Raygun versus Zombie on the outside. TMS Stingray on the inside for a 2nd position. Both of them looking to try and get back up at Ludicrous Speed. They have the draft. They're closing with speed on the number 20 car as they get into the braking zone. Hard into the brakes. TMS Stingray will leapfrog ahead of Raygun versus Zombie. Cannot get alongside Ludicrous Speed yet. And that's the key word, yet. But Raygun versus Zombie really had been holding back for a good part of this race. Now he is very much into the fight of it. But it's back to the main 2 that we've seen fighting for a lead for most of the day. The counterpoint, though, is now Ludicrous Speed leading, and it's Stingray who is doing the chasing. And we'll see TMS Bum Drop pitting in the next 2 laps as he is very low on fuel. There you can see him coming into the pits now. Sadly, because he pitted now and not coming to the green flag, he is likely going to fall to dead last in the entire grid. Ludicrous Speed made a mistake in turn 1. Here 1 car is back in front now. The 20 is faster though, going into the hairpin. Taking alternate lines. The 1 now botches the corner. Now the 20 comes fighting back. The 5 is in a perfect position to witness it all as it happens. Riding off the top of that number 1 car. Ludicrous Speed now botches this corner. Here comes Stingray to the inside. Ooh, power down. Car sideways, struggling, putting the power down. Ludicrous Speed launches forward. Stingray closes back in, runs right into the rear into the 20, forces him offline. Side by side, Ludicrous Speed on the outside, Stingray on the inside. Ludicrous falls back in line in front. Raygun is right there, ready to capitalize. If these 2 keep knocking each other apart like this, he will take at least 1, if not both of these positions. Down into the backstretch hairpin, backstretch chicane once more. Stingray puts 2 tires in the grass, but is able to maintain speed through it. But Ludicrous much better on exit this time. Actually significantly gapping his rival, it would appear. And Stingray may have to worry about Raygun here, trying to make a dive on him in turn 1. Raygun to the inside. Can't make it stick. Ludicrous misses the turn 1 again. And Stingray goes back into the lead. Now Ludicrous crosses over. A lot of time lost. And it's brought all of them into the fray. 3-car fight for a lead. Still, Stingray has the advantage with the inside line. He'll shoot out around the faster lane. One of them's gonna have to back out. It looks like it's gonna be Ludicrous. So Stingray back into the front. Ludicrous just puts 2 tires into the dirt just for the moment, but it's enough for him to kill his momentum. He tries taking an alternate line as they merge onto Speedway turn 1 here. Ludicrous right into the draft of Stingray. Stingray tries to break the draft by sliding up high, then cutting back down in front of the 20. Doesn't work out as well as he'd anticipate. Nose to tail for the front two. Will Ludacris make a dive under braking? The answer, yes he does. Here it comes. Knocks him sideways, knocks them both sideways. Stingray maintains the position. Ludacris has to back out of it. And Ray Gun is still in the fight. But that really hurt Ludacris more than it did Stingray. Now the gap opens up in favor of that number 1 machine. That backstretch chicane is just not a good place to try and make an overtake at. Now Stingray goes in and Ludacris again nearly misses the corner, and the gap between first and second expands once more. Stingray has had the fastest lap of this race thus far. Oh, but now he misses and makes a mistake there in the first of the infield hairpins. Ludacris trying to close in, but it looks like the gap has stabilized just a bit in favor of the number 1 car. Ray Gun, now it's his turn to drop 2 tires into the dirt. So for all intents and purposes, it would appear that the fight for the race win has come to a close. The gap between first and second has stabilized at about 3/4 of a second now. Ludacris faster entering this hairpin, but Stingray seems to be better on exit. But as I say that, Stingray's made a mistake. Here comes Ludacris speed with speed. Ha, punny. And now he's coming around the outside. Neck and neck, side by side. Drag race to the line. It will be 4 laps to go at the line. The 20 is finally back ahead of the 1. But he'll have to be careful under braking. They send it. They both send it. But Ludacris Speed totally loses the... he saved it. He went wide, but he still saved it and came right back in line behind the 1 car again. Pushing the 1 car a little bit wide. The 1 tries to force the 20 to stay on the outside going through this hairpin. Stingray maintains the top position. Ludacris Speed is there in second, though. And the fight is alive once more for the race win. Stingray sideways, struggling, putting the power down. Ludacris is there, pressuring him. Does Ludacris dive? No, he does not dive here. But he takes a tighter line and a wider exit, trying to get on the throttle sooner. They both enter Speedway Turn 1 a little bit wide. The gap between first and second is a little bit larger than it was earlier. Here, Ludacris Speed is there. He went for a move, but backed out at the last possible second. This is the closest the 20 has been to the 1 for a while. By a while, I mean for about 1 minute. Ludacris to the outside, Stingray inside. Now we see Ludacris Speed take a drastically different line under braking. But the 1 car still maintains his position. Ray Gun vs. Zombie is starting to fade from this battle just a little bit. Stingray having a little bit of trouble maximizing his run through that hairpin. But he's still maintaining position over Ludacris Speed. 3 laps to go, and when they hit the line at 2 to go, there will be no more yellows. Last 2 laps are required to be run under green flag conditions. Ludacris Speed trying to pressure Stingray once more. Nose to tail. The 20 has the draft. This is not a good overtaking spot, but the 20 may not care. Within a tenth of a second, under braking, the 20 actually pulls back a bit. He's trying to have a better exit. Riding off the top of the number 20. 2 laps to go. Contact. Stingray, though, will still get the power down well enough. He's able to open the gap. Not a great run through the hairpin for Ludicrous Speed, but Stingray struggles putting the power down coming out of it as well. Ooh, sideways, and that might be it. Unless Stingray makes a mistake, it looks like he's just good enough at defending here that he can hold off the 20. Ray Gun has now fallen to more than a second out of this fight. Looks like Stingray had a much better time putting the power down that time through. Under braking now. Ludicrous charges in. And Stingray charges out. But Ludicrous did close the gap a bit. But again, on acceleration, the number 1 car was better. Coming to the white flag. One more circuit. Ludicrous not close enough to make a dive into turn 1. He's going to have to find some other way by. Much better under braking that time for the 20 car. Stingray still struggling putting the power down, but it's not hurting him too much. The 1 and the 20 take alternate entry lines and alternate exit lines. One car really sideways, struggling. Putting just tires on the rumble strip seems to upset his ability to do something. Here comes Ludicrous Speed. He pushes the number 1 out of the way. It's gonna be a drag race. Stingray outside, Ludicrous inside. Maybe a bit of an aggressive move, but it's legal. Ludicrous has the lead. It's the last lap. Can Stingray get back by him in the backstretch chicane? Chevrolet versus Ford for the victory. Number 20 versus number 1. Sponsored versus unsponsored. Veteran versus newcomer. Through braking, they both go into the grass. Ludicrous did not have a great run through there. Stingray has speed. Stingray right there behind the 20 car. He's looking to the outside. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line. Checkered flag is in the air. The 1 car can't maintain the momentum. He falls back in line behind the 20. He looks to the inside, looks to the outside. There's no room. Ludicrous Speed is going to hold him off. And to the line, Ludicrous Speed is going to win the Busch Clash at Daytona. Stingray is going to come home in second position. Ray Gun versus Zombie will come home third. TTJ111 will come home fourth. Fifth position is going to go to SRD Shredder, followed by SSR UVamp. Prius will come home seventh. Whew. And that was a finish, to say the least. An outstanding run to the end. And Ludicrous Speed, a man for a long time who has been mocked for only being able to win at 1 track before, turns it around and pulls off a victory here in the Busch Clash. We're going to try and invite our Podium Finishers, Ludicrous Speed, Stingray, and Raygun into the party. Hear what they have to say about that finish. A very interesting, albeit very quick and short race, to say the least.
Woo!
All right, and coming into the party are our Podium Finishers. We'll start with our race winner, Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous Speed, I think without a doubt now we can say that the Lime Rock only meme is over. A fantastic win, but a win that didn't look like you were going to have until the last lap. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Oh, man, it was tough, man. It was real tough. My hands are still kind of shaking a little bit. Pressure from everybody, every single lap. I started losing it a little bit on that last fuel run there, running wide in turn 1 constantly. And once I got loose with 2 to go, I figured the race was starting to be over a little bit, but I remembered from a different league I did where I came back on the last lap. You know, all you got to do is put your head down and let the race take its course, and that's exactly what's happened today. So, fantastic result today. I killed the meme, you know, and it's a hell of a start to the season.
All right, so do you think you can replicate this and bring home wins in either the duels or the 350 itself?
Those oval races are hard, man, but, you know, the 350 is on the top of my list of races I want to win, so we'll see what happens.
All right, well, thanks for being willing to jump in. Outstanding job on the victory.
Massive props to Stingray and Raygun. You guys ran a hell of a race today. Stingray, you're a hard motherfucker to pass, and Raygun, you're a scary man to keep behind me.
All right, and now, speaking of which, I want to go ahead and turn our focus to our second place finisher, TMS Stingray. Stingray, go ahead, make sure your hours included. Started on the pole, led most of the laps today. But when it came down to it, you did not lead the most important one at the end. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Oh, well, tough one, that's for sure. And just keeping the car on the track was my main objective. But, you know, was alright going through the race in the lead. Felt pretty comfortable at some points. Then the caution came out and everything was a bit screwed up. But you know, disappointed to be pushed out of the way on the last lap. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, you make a fair point, but still, outstanding, dominant performance. May not be a win, but do you think you could carry on this kind of performance as a base to win races and contend for the title in the season itself?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, well, anything else you want to say in general, or?
No, I'm cool. No.
Alright, a man of few words, with every word having impact. I can have some deep respect for that. Great job on the second place finish, and great job on the pole position as well. Now I want to talk to third place, Raygun versus Zombie. Raygun, you, unlike Ludicrous and Stingray, you didn't have the greatest of starts, and frankly didn't even look like you were going to contend for the win, and then after the restart, all of a sudden you were right there, and although you faded a bit at the end, this was one of your best showings in the Cup Series for a long time. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Honestly, I did not expect to get a P3 after qualifying 7th, but having that on-track pace and also overall strategy with that pit stop before that yellow came out, or actually after, was it after? I don't know, but starting I think it was P4 at the end, at the restart, but yeah, I did not expect to be P3 after all of this, but I'm just surprised.
Alright, so Raygun, now the question is, when we go into the season itself, can we start seeing more competition from you and you actually being able to hold on to better positions, being able to fight outright for more wins or top 5 finishes in the season itself?
From last season, I got a top 5 at Silverstone, so I could probably get more podiums like this and probably hold off some people during the whole season.
Alright, well, either way, congratulations on that third place finish, mate. Hopefully, this is a good telling of things to come for you. Alright, well, that's the word from our podium finishers. I'm not going to keep this broadcast going forever. Sadly, this is a preseason race, and I'm going to try and keep this a little bit shorter. However, everyone, in a week's time, there will be the Daytona 350 qualifying and the dual races. I highly encourage you guys to check that out. It will be at roughly the same time on the same channel in a week's time. The week after that will be the Daytona 350 itself, and then we get into the rest of the normal points-paying races. Until then, though, I have been your host, Insane Leader 13. I want to thank you